My guest is Fatih Birol, the director of the International Energy Agency. This organization oversees the major developments around the globe regarding energy. Thank you very much for being with us on Euronews.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I would like to know your opinion about the energy crisis in Europe, because many people would like to see whether or not the end of this crisis is anytime soon. So what is your opinion?
So we are in the middle of the first truly global energy crisis. Our world has never, ever witnessed an energy crisis with this depth and with this complexity. The reason is very simple. Russia, the country that invaded Ukraine, is the largest energy exporter of the world. And this invasion of Russia sparked a major energy crisis, and Europe is at the epicenter of it, because a big chunk of European energy came from Russia. And it is the mistake that Europe had years and years, decades and decades, so much reliance on Russian energy, one single country. And as a result, we are going through difficult times in Europe. And I guess this will be a few years. We will have difficult times in terms of our economy, energy, and I guess it will have implications for our social life as well.
What are your predictions for this winter? How we will get through this winter?
I think this winter, we can go through this winter if the winter is not too long and not too cold, and if there are no major surprises, a pipeline is exploding, a fire here and there, unless such unexpected surprises happens, we can go through this winter with some economic and social bruises here and there. We will come to February, March without major problems, because we were able to, thanks to the European government's policies, put a lot of natural gas in our storage. We will use that this winter. But the question is, next winter may be even harder than this winter, because when we come to February, March next year, how are we going to again fill our gas storages? This is a big question, because the conditions in the markets will not be easy.
So how are we going to replace this gas that is missing? Are there enough LNG capacities to replace this gas?
Next year, China may go up, economy may rebound, and we will not get any Russian gas. Plus, the bad news is, next year, the amount of new capacity, LNG capacity, gas capacity coming to markets is very, very limited. So putting these three things together, no more Russian gas coming to Europe. China may also needing a lot of gas from the global markets, and very little amount of new gas capacity coming from US and elsewhere means it will be very tight for Europe and for the rest of the world.
So we have to get used to high energy prices in the long term.
I think we have to, in the next few years, we have to be ready with volatile and high energy prices, and we have to find solutions. But to be very frank, this winter is difficult, and next winter may be even harder.
So the European Council would like to introduce a kind of flexible price cap on gas. Do you think that would help the situation?
One of the reasons why Europe, was successful this year, we paid more money than the other buyers, and we could get the LNG here. If we put the price cap too low, then our competitive power will be much less. Therefore, putting a price cap which is good enough to compete with other buyers, but at the same time help to protect the consumers would be a good idea.
So there is also another idea, a small-scale common purchase mechanism. Yeah. How do you see this?
I think this is a very good idea. If the European countries come together and make their muscles even stronger and emerge as a strong buyer, it will help them to outcompete some of the other LNG buyers.
What's going to be the position of Russia in the future of the oil markets?
Russia will be a loser of this energy battle for the following reason. Just before the invasion, about 75% of the Russian total gas exports went to Europe, and 55% of the Russian oil exports went to Europe. And now Europe was by far the largest market, largest client for Russia. And Russia lost this client forever, the biggest client.
And the Russians are saying that they can sell their gas to Asia, to China.
It is not easy. It is not easy. With the pipelines coming to Europe, you cannot, that gas, quickly build the pipelines to send China or India. It will take, in the most optimistic case, 10 years to build these pipelines, to go through this geography. You need a lot of new technology, financement, and so on. So I think it is, you are not selling onions in the market. Selling natural gas is a different business. So to replace the natural gas exports to Europe with Russia is, in my view, in the short term, is a pipe dream.
So Europe is losing, Russia is losing on this crisis, and who is winning?
I would say Europe and the rest of the world is definitely going through a very difficult time, but we shouldn't forget that many countries now around the world, many governments, are giving strong responses to this crisis. In Europe, we have a Repower EU, a major program putting a lot of money to accelerate clean energy. It is onshore wind, offshore wind, it is the heat pumps, it is hydrogen. These are not statements or strategies, it's money on the table for solar, wind, nuclear power, electric cars. They will come in a few years of time, and I believe this crisis may well be a turning point in the history for the acceleration of clean energy transition. We will be going through a few years difficult times, but at the end of the day, 10 years from now, when we look back, we may see the year 2022 is the year when the clean energy transition has started to accelerate strongly around the world.
Dr. Biro, thanks very much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.